And thanks for attending the TSANet Connect 2.0. This is an update I'm giving you on what we've been doing with TSANet Connect 2.0 and hopefully give you some insights and next steps as a member. So first of all, I'll just give you a little bit of history on and kind of where this started and where Connect 2.0 about. So TSANet Connect in general started way back in 2018. That seems like a long time ago now. Similar to what we did with Connect 2.0, we created a technology committee, and then you just kind of see a little bit of the highlights along the way to where now we're sitting with about 850 members connected to the platform, and as we exit this year, we'll be on the 20th release of that of the web app. Similar on Connect 2.0, we did the same exact thing in 2022. We created a technology committee, gathered early feedback and what we needed to support on that platform. And then this year, we've been spending time on selecting that technology and developing the solution. And I'll be giving you an update on that. And the goal is to end up exiting this year with our first release of Connect 2.0. Just a little bit of time here on the high-level goals for Connect 2.0. First two, I think, are key to the success of getting members to adopt this platform. And these are some of maybe I would call the lessons learned from our past attempts on an integrated solution. The first is to make certain that members that integrate are still able to collaborate with all the other members. And I think you'll see how we propose to do that with the demo on Salesforce. So the idea here is it's not a new system that kind of isolates you from other members that are still using the web interface. It's basically a way to still collaborate with all members, including those that are using the web or the ones that are integrated. The second is to provide integration flexibility. So again, in the past when we attempted this, it was one size, right? Install the app and that's it. No customization. It just kind of works as is. We found out certainly different members have different requirements, different integration policies. All of these types of things drive really the need for an integration framework that has flexibility in it. And I'll provide a little more detail on that. Number third is certainly to be able to support new features. So the current web interface, for example, couldn't support a lot of the features such as the B2B updates and some of the enhanced integration stuff. So obviously we want the solution to support the new features. And then number four, we really want to demonstrate the benefits of integration. So there are a lot of them. User experience, certainly number one, but there's a lot of other things as well. Compliance, GDPR, all these things that are kind of driving new requirements related to how members collaborate and making sure the customer acceptance is in there and different data compliances. All of that really requires an integrated solution. And then efficiency is the other one. And I would say this is both operational efficiency and IT efficiency. So I think members that have started going down the path of direct point-to-point integration certainly find that it's not a very scalable approach, so not very efficient from the IT side, but also I think from a user experience and operation side, not very efficient as well. And then our last goal is to really, and this is certainly to exit this year and get the momentum, right, is to deliver not only the documentation, but also the Salesforce package. And that's the piece that I'm going to demonstrate today. So we felt it was important not only just to have a, headless API documentation, say, okay, here it is, go and build your integrations. We really wanted to have a reference implementation that's designed around a system that certainly a majority of our members are using so that they can see, great, I understand it. And certainly many members will just be able to use that package as is. And then I'll share with you how customization works with that as well. So those are the goals. If we look at the platform itself, what we have, if you look at the TSANet Connect 2.0, it actually has two pieces to it. So there is still the web app. So we're not, again, like I said, isolating members that are still on the web app. We have connected the web app and the integration framework together In the integration framework, I'll go into a little bit more details on that. But similar to the web app, it's based on open source. Again, this is a system that we're developing on behalf of the members. So it is, in essence, your platform. You're paying for the integration. It basically access to source code or whatever you need in order to accomplish these types of things. But I'll share with you a little bit more of the details on that. And then obviously that integration framework is providing various ways to integrate to the system. Certainly, we're providing a robust set of RESTful APIs, so that creation of apps is possible, but also the integration framework allows for us to leverage members' APIs or do different things as well. So quite a bit of flexibility in there. And our goal as far as the scope entering here, Connect 2.0, is to allow bidirectional create with all members. So any member you can collaborate with, and it will create cases in the corresponding system, or could even send emails to members that are connected to the web app. But then for elite members that are connected through the API, not only providing creation capabilities, but also B2B updates between those members. So that's a view of the Connect 2.0 system and platform. So then when we go into integration options, again, and I'll provide a little bit more information on the integration framework. It is based on largely Apache open source products that are supported under the Red Hat offering. So again, we kind of wanted something that didn't have the license complexities, allowed us to really do the customization, but we did want enterprise grade and support kind of backing that as well. So that is what the integration framework is based upon. You can see it's already integrated into the web app. So those members are fully connected through it. And then we see two different integration options. We will go forward and we'll provide Salesforce packages. I will provide some more detail on what those are, but we basically plan to provide both an unlocked package as well as a managed package, and different members with different requirements may choose one or the other. And then for custom integration, obviously there's a lot of members that are not on Salesforce. And the idea is there's a couple different options there. I listed the A first because I think it's probably the better option, and that is to work with us on the custom integration. Again, that's kind of a collaborative development strategy where you're leveraging our APIs. Maybe we need to leverage your APIs, but basically we work together to ensure that there's a viable integration. Option B is certainly possible as well. Again, we're going to be fully documenting the TSANet APIs. So this would be an area where maybe you wanted to build something similar to what we used for the Salesforce package, which is fully leveraging the TSANet API. So no need to leverage your APIs on your side. So both of them are possible. I think based on what's been requested, one may be a better approach than the other. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on maybe how you would make some of those decisions. So a little bit more detail on the Salesforce packages. Like I said, we are going to provide both unlocked and managed package. You can see here there's a little bit of linkage between the two, because obviously what we see is, maybe a member takes the unlocked package, maybe they do some specific customization, such as connecting it maybe through their MuleSoft instead of direct APIs, right? So again, this gives the ability to really kind of touch the code and all the pieces that are part of the package. And that may come back into the managed package, maybe as a configuration option during installation of the package. So we see this as a way to kind of enhance and make the managed package better and better as time goes on, because I think over time, that would be the type of approach for most members that don't have large IT organizations with big integration teams. They just want to install something and have it work. So I won't go into a lot of details here on the timeline, but you can see here that this half we've been really spending time on getting the basics in place and developing the Salesforce package. And then as we go into 2024, that's really where we start to work with members to get this thing implemented and put into production. So then as far as custom integration, again, I stress, I think the best approach here is a collaborative integration with elite members, right? So we, again, kick off a collaborative integration project, and it could be for any one of the systems you see off here to the right. We've kind of seen probably Microsoft Dynamics and Oracle is probably the two top ones, but we also see ServiceNow in there. And we've also had discussions with people around, oh, this would be nice to have a Slack app or a Microsoft Teams app. So I think some of those things maybe could be explored as well, but I think those should all be collaborative discussions with members. And again, on the timeline, I won't go into a ton of detail here, but essentially we'll be ready to start those projects in the first half of 24. So I think we'd be in good shape here to start to prioritize those and get those types of integrations in place. So now going maybe into a little bit more detail on the Salesforce package that has been created. You can see here there's essentially two pieces of the puzzle. The first is the TSANet case object. So if you're familiar with Salesforce, they basically have the concept of objects, right, that store data and can be linked to other objects like the case object, et cetera. So what you see here is the case object, and again, there's the detail associated with each collaboration, whether it's inbound or outbound. And then there is a relationship for all of the responses related to that collaboration request, again, whether it's inbound or outbound. So all of the data being held within these objects related to both the collaboration request and kind of ongoing response and updates. And this does have separate permissions. So it could be the type of thing that you say, hey, we don't want all our engineers to have access to this. Maybe this is isolated to an inbound team or a management team that's tracking these things and assigning and running reports and those types of things. Obviously, you'll see the engineers have access to this, but maybe not the full access. So this is kind of probably the underlying important piece. And again, we designed this using the TSANet APIs, but again, there could be some modifications on that side. And then the second piece of the puzzle is the Lightning Web Component. So again, obviously this does require Salesforce Lightning. I know there's still some members that are in the migration phase, but I would say that's the final destination really for everyone. So that's really what we designed it around. It starts with the small web component that you can kind of see here on the upper side. Obviously, that's part of your case record. It can be placed anywhere on the case, so no requirements as far as it needs to be in the left, the right, the center, underneath a tab, what have you. So quite a bit of flexibility on where you expose that for a support engineer. But you can see the very kind of, I'll call it high level process flow for creating an outbound request. Again, very I'll say similar to what happens on the web, but certainly a much better user experience. So you can see here they create a new request. You search for the partner you want to collaborate with. It pops up the process form. You can see with this integrated with Salesforce now, it auto-populates a lot of pieces of information. Obviously, it knows who the support engineer, knows who the customer is. All that type of information is preset. And then you just fill out the additional fields and press submit. And then you can see that then adds it as a record into that Lightning Web Component. And the idea here is to be able to also provide this consistent method of providing updates for members. So again, you can see here, this is an example of collaborating with a member that might not be connected to the API. And you can see here, it feeds back their email so that you can continue to have email conversations with them inside of Salesforce. So again, the idea is to kind of keep this streamlined and consistent so that the engineer isn't learning a new way to collaborate with different types of members based on how they're connected and their capabilities. So that's the overall thought process around the Lightning Web Component and how the engineers would experience it. So with that, in mind, let me move over to a quick demo just to give you a little sense here of how it works. Okay, so I'm going to start. Start with the use case of I'm a Cisco engineer and I'm working on a case with a customer here. You can see here it's Gene Point. I've got the customer contact details. So all of this information obviously is part of the case. And you can see here we have the TSANet cases piece here. You'll see it has a little bit of debug features and things like that in there, but essentially this is a good view of kind of how it will work, right? So the engineer comes in here and selects new. They're able to, again, it's a dynamic search. So VM, it pops up and I can see here, I've got my member I want to collaborate with. I select next. You can see here, it's already linked all the information I need. This would be if there's an existing case number with VMware. It auto-populates subject. It certainly could auto-populate description as well, but I think the thought is this is more the specific ask. Of course, I have to select the priority. And this is going to go ahead then and create the case. And of course, very similar kind of experience what they've seen today. So the idea here is to make sure this isn't a jarring change from users that are familiar with the web. And then you can see here popped it here in your related case list. Okay, so that is the too many screens here. So that is the sender experience. So on the receiver side, let me show you this. Yes, on the receiver side, and again, I'm going to show this as fully manual solution. Obviously, with Salesforce, you can create workflows and you can automate all this type of stuff I'm showing, right? But you can see here it popped up in my list of inbound cases. I can drill into it. This one happens to be against an existing case, but you can see here I could certainly create a new case, or I could link it to an existing case that I'm already working with a member. So just interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to just linking it to an existing case. But creating a case is the same way you always create a case in Salesforce, and obviously it has all the data there. And again, that certainly could be automated with workflow as well. But I'm going to link it to an existing case here, save that, and then you can see here I've got the ability then to send my acceptance message over to the other endpoint, and I can add notes or what have you. Okay, so with that, then we have the two endpoints connected together, and what you would see here on the sender side, as you can see here, your endpoint agent email comes in here. So again, this is a way to follow up with them. You can see all the information is being stamped into the case feed. So the engineer has all the information on what's going on between both the Salesforce component and TSANet Connect, as well as what's going on between direct collaboration with emails going on with the agent on the other side. So that is on that side. And then just give you a sense of obviously there's the other endpoint. Maybe this gives you a sense of if I was to receive an inbound case, what's happened there is I'm the engineer. And again, I'm working for VMware, and I was happily working on my own case with the same customer. and I just got a collaboration request popped into my interface here on the TSANet cases. And again, it was me, the contact from Cisco. Ignore these emails. We had to use dev emails, but hopefully you get the point. So essentially from this point, the endpoints are connected, and the user can collaborate via email. So that's I will say the first use case that we're working on and we have in place. The second use case is obviously the ongoing updates. Maybe related to that, I'll give you a little bit of sense, right? So this response tab is starting to record the responses related to this. And you can see the first initial response. And obviously with an email connected or web connected member, it stops there with the initial response. And then you've got all the information you need to continue communicating with that member via phone, via email. You've got all their contact details. With a B2B connected member, then obviously you would be able to update the member based on updates to that case or direct messages to the other member, and those would show up in these various responses. And the thought process to keep this very consistent is to still provide that agent's name over here, and when you select it, obviously it pops up a window and allows you to put in a message that then goes over to the other member via the messaging API versus email. So the thought is keep the user interface consistent so that it is not a different, we'll say, user experience for the engineer, whether they're collaborating with a member that's still on the web app or a member that is in the API and has the direct messaging interface. Okay. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of sense of where we're at. And again, I'm going to open up for questions here in a bit, but I just want to give you maybe an idea of what we see as our next steps. So we do have a couple features that we need to complete. One of the big ones is the support for custom fields. So kind of as you saw there, you can find members, and it's able to show and allow you to search for all the members that you have a relationship with. But as we know, some members have what we call the default form, which actually about 95% of members have the default form, but 5% have custom fields, and some of those custom fields have dynamic drop downs or searches or what have you. So we need to support those. And then we want to provide demos and beta access. So obviously this is the first demo I did, but the idea here is maybe there's some members out there that want to contact me and say, hey, I would like this demo again, and this time I would like to invite these people or those folks. So we really want to start to do a lot of show and tell here and get feedback from folks. And this even includes providing beta access. Again, we'll kind of see what the best way to do that is. Of course, we have beta environments for Salesforce ourselves, but the idea here, I think, would be to start to get your IT teams involved and get your beta environments connected to this, so you can start to get the feedback and kind of understand, is it just going to work with managed package, or is there some customization that's needed? And then obviously we need to get all the environments up and going. And we're also working on two documents. One is an integration guide that will include exactly what we did to create this Salesforce package, right? So usually with an integration guide, it's nice to have a case study on exactly how to use the APIs to accomplish an integration. So that's what that document is going to be. And then we'll have a more we'll call it classical API specification that gives you the details on what our APIs are and how you use those. So those are two things, or four things, sorry, that we're working on for TSANet, and we see those as our next steps. And then for members, my guidance would be, if you are a Salesforce member, reach out to me and let's get you involved in maybe it's more demos, maybe get you involved in betas, but clearly we want to get your input, right? We have been getting a lot of input from members, especially of our lead members, right? So Nutanix, Red Hat, Microsoft, et cetera, has kind of showed us what they did as far as point to points, and we've tried to really follow some of that guidance and make certain that we're going down the right direction. But the devil's in the details. So right now, I think it's great to get involved in those details to make certain that the system meets your requirements, and then certainly start planning for implementation in the first half of the year. So we'll be in a position to do that either by delivering you a unmanaged or managed package. And then if you are not a Salesforce member, I think the first step here is to reach out to me so that we can open up the discussion on integration options, right? And again, when I talk about integration options, it might not be, here's all of our APIs, go ahead and create your integration, right? It may be, we need to integrate to your APIs, for example, to submit a case. And then maybe you integrate to our APIs to submit a case or get updates. And again, I think this is where the collaborative development works, and certainly why we developed an integration framework, so it's not a one size fits all, right? So we have flexibility in how we work with you, and that again, you should plan for implementation in the first half of 2024. So we'd be able to work with you during the first half of the year as well. Okay, so with that, I'm going to open it up. I know we just have a few minutes, but if there is any questions, if you pop them in the chat. I think we locked it down so nobody can talk, although I could probably take you off mute, but it might be easier to pop them in the chat. And the first question is yes. So everybody that's registered for this, we will send you a link to the recording and the slides. So you'll get that here before the end of the day. So if you have people that couldn't make it, great. Point them at that. Any other questions? Yep. So authentication, right? So SSO is kind of the current piece into the web app. It looks like, and again, this could be part of the customization, but OAuth 2 seems to be the path we're on for system authentication. So bottom line, sticking to the standards that are out there. Any other questions? Yep, good questions. Okay. Well, we got a minute left. I guess if there's no other questions, we'll let you guys go. And again, I will record this. We'll make it available for folks. And again, open invitation, right? Follow up with me directly if you're like, hey, Paul, great, high level surface webinar, but I need to dig into this, right? So let's set up a meeting to start to discuss. Certainly, if you've been one of the lead members, hopefully this is a great. You guys have listened to us and you've gone out and kind of built some things, and hopefully there's some confidence that we're at a point where we can start working on the details with your IT teams here. So definitely reach out to me, and we'll start working on those next steps. Otherwise, let's see. Hope somebody else. Failures in the case of failure. Yeah. Okay, so good question. So one of the questions that just kind of came up is the whole error handling. And we have had some experience with that. If you remember back in this slide number 2, right? We added earlier in this year the JSON process to the web interface, and we've actually had a connection into Cisco's MuleSoft platform. So we have learned a lot around what could go wrong. Largely, it is related to missing data elements and things like that. So you can see, obviously, on the Salesforce interface, we can prevent some of those things because we can control what goes in there and required fields and all those types of things. But obviously, you have things such as, endpoints down, what happens then, right? Retries and those types of things. So error handling is definitely an important piece. And I would say I would separate those between two things, right? One is generic error handling, your classic IT stuff on, what happens if systems are down, those types of things. And I would say the integration framework largely takes care of that because there's some standards on how to do those. But then when it comes to errors inside of a member system, right, such as I don't know this customer or I don't know this contact email, those are more kind of specific member things, and that would be part of the integration piece, understanding, what are the failure conditions and what do we need to communicate to the other endpoint. Okay, excellent. Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go, and again, we'll send out the recording, but definitely reach out to me for the questions. And again, if you're IT guy or you're in that area of maybe a business person coming in and saying, hey, we want you to get going on this, reach out to me. It's just paul@tsanet.org. We'll start to get that conversation going. Obviously, I'm not the developer. We'll pull developers and folks that kind of understand the inner workings of this to answer the more detailed questions. Okay, but appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, everyone.